Hello everyone, I guess Jen. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Monday. We are back again with another Fanatics Weekly Review where I go through the top 100 soccer items auctioned over on their website. As always, if you enjoy these weekly reviews, do make sure to leave a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. Helps me, helps the channel. And I got to scroll to the bottom of this before we jump over, so give me a moment. There we go. Made our way there, and we're starting off at about $400 this week, which seems about where we're at the moment. Nothing too crazy, although this is pretty cool. A 1981 Donald Maradona. I've never seen this before, and saw the winner of this posted over on Instagram, so shout out to that individual. Essentially, this is out of Uruguay, and I think there was someone in the comment that said that they had only seen one other copy of this ever, so ultimately a pretty hard issue to acquire relatively early in Maradona's playing day, and gets a decent number, probably not a crazy number, but respectable at least. Next to it, we have a couple modern issues here, a 2020 Chrome Gold Bubbles Golasso, for all those that are chasing that, PSA 10 for 408, along with a Sapphire 2019 PSA 10 Kylian Mbappe for the same price there. For me, I'd take the Maradona in this row, but you just never see it. I know people talk about, vintage being plentiful and there's going to be more, and well, if there's more than, if I see 5 more of these in the next decade, like, is that really that crazy? I don't know. Above it, we have a 2018 Optic Kylian Mbappe. I thought that was interesting. We have a 125 Purple Velocity, basically, nearly in line with the, is that the same exact price? It is. Same exact price as the Sapphire 2019. Interesting which one you'd want there. 2018, I guess, has more of a case of being a rookie, but in my mind, neither one's a rookie. So ultimately, I'd probably take the Sapphire, but, I could see a case either way. Next to it, this was a fun one that didn't go crazy. This is the 1998 Panini Spanish Liga Xavi PSA 6. This is a pretty hard issue, the rarest of the Xavi rookies to find, and in a PSA 6, it's up a little bit on the last grade. As you can see here, 384 for the last sale, which was in October. And I guess last year there was 3 of these to sell, but you can see there wasn't any in 2024. And, if it would have went lower, I would have snagged it. But even at this price, I don't think that's a bad pickup if you're into that sort of stuff, because, you just don't see them. In totality, there's been 4 to sell in the last, 2+ years. So pretty rare. And again, for an issue like that, I wouldn't mind that. It is not the, most aesthetically pleasing. I'm pretty sure his head's just photoshopped onto someone else's body, and, there's some downsides, but still, it's a rare issue of a rookie for one of the best midfielders of the era, certainly. Next to it, 2024 patch here of Messi goes for 420 raw. We have a Raja Mila. I think that's second year, but I'm not quite certain. Pretty high grade, though, goes for 420. We have a Desiree Doué Sapphire Yellow for 420, and a 2023 Topps Focus Lamine Yamal with a PSA 7 card grade. Interesting to see that go lower than an IP Donruss Rookie Kings. I'd take the licensed auto, but maybe that's just me. This was lower, but, ultimately when we've seen how much Messi stuff's run, I don't think it's crazy. PSA 6 of the foil goes for 432. I'd have to imagine that probably peaked out closer to 600-700. I didn't want to say it, but that's how I felt about it. But 430 there, not bad. Next to it, on the far left, a yellow Sapphire Cristiano Ronaldo for 440. And, just, again, interesting. I know it's early career Mbappe, but Mbappe green going for basically the same price as a Ronaldo yellow. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it, but there's cases to be made either way. Above it, sort of a myriad of middle career issues for a lot of the GOATs. We have a 2012 Monday Chromo PSA 10 Ronaldo, a Panini 2012-2013 Barcelona Top Messi in a 10 for 456. I do wonder on this type of stuff, because I think once it hits Pop 15, they just stop putting it on there, because I don't think I've ever seen anything over a Pop 15. I wonder if that has a impact here. If a couple more get graded, does, that sort of drag that down? I'm not sure. And then a 66 Bruguera Pele in a PSA 4, Pop 1 of 1 higher. We'll see another one from this same issue a little later. Above it, we got the new USMNT coach. I guess not really new at this point, but the current U.S. coach in Mauricio Pochettino going for 480. They're out of nobility. Pretty coveted set. 1 of 1, of course. Going to add to it. We have a 2012. It says 1 of 1. Huh? Pop 1 of 4, 5 higher. What are we doing? What 1 of 1? Monday Chromo 1 of 1, fake listing, I guess. Pop 1 of 4 or 5 higher, 1 of 1 with 9 pop. There you go, PSA 8. Hopefully no one cared about that listing title, but okay. Imperial Calcia Pele goes in a PSA 4 for 480. Looked back on some of the prices here, and it seemed relatively in line. I guess a 5 did, nearly 800. Some nice 2s were doing, 3 to 400. So maybe it's a bit light. But the last 3 did 312 in May. This also clearly didn't have a great cut, and usually people value that very, very strongly. So that's probably explaining why it may be a bit light, but a pretty coveted issue for him. Sapphire Green Messi for 492 there in a PSA 9, along with a UK Traditions 2006 Cristiano Ronaldo in a PSA 10 for 500. I'm not going to state my opinion on that because I've done that a lot. And 73 Sahur Cruyff goes in a PSA 8 for 492. I looked at comps, and you can take that either way. It sold, I think the last 8 sold for like 310, 315. A couple years ago, there was a PSA 6 recently that sold for like 400. So, it's lower than you'd expect based on the 6 sale, but it's higher than the last 8 by a good margin. So, somewhere in between there. Cristiano Ronaldo 2004 PSA 9 Euro sticker. Also, just before we go any further, UK Traditions, just a nothing brand, and it's actually 2006. Now, sure, it's a PSA 10. Who cares? Who cares? It's a PSA 10. This is a PSA 9. I'll take the Euro sticker all day. It's just not even a question. That goes for nearly 500. And in terms of past comps, I did look it up because this is a sticker I've always been pretty fond of, and we don't see it sell a lot on here in high grade. Last sale was 580 on a best offer. Best offers are always going to do higher. You have an auction for 430, best offer for 350, so definitely up over the last couple. You can see there's some Paxiao Portugal in here, just don't mind those. But last March it was 230, 300. So generally this seemed to have bottomed last year at like 2 to 300, and now it's about at 5, which implies it's up double. I really like the sticker personally. I've always been fond of it. I might own a raw one, maybe. I don't know. So it's not like I'm pumping or anything. I just think it's a really nice sticker. Panini Euro, first Portuguese. It's not first because of the Panini packs. Yeah, but like first big time, tournament issue for Ronaldo. I think that's a really fun one. And at 500, I don't think that's bad either. Karim Benzema, gold, die cut, PSA 10 for 528. We have an Erling Haaland here, and I think 2 more in the row above it, all for, basically 550 to 600. I did take a look at this as well, just because it was a pretty big-time sticker at one point in time. And, it's, still a decent sticker at $500 for a 10, but as you can see, it had a quite a decent march down and is slowly coming back over the last year, up 37% from the initial sale. Seemed to have bottomed at about 320 and had some very high peak sales recently, but is closer to 500 to 600 at this point in time. So definitely up, but it was a lot higher at one point in time, but what wasn't really. Above it we have a Modric here from 2018 Donruss, beautiful game. Auto in a PSA 9 for the card. Out of 5, goes for 552. Above it, I did have a win this week, so we'll talk about that momentarily. PSA 9 Mbappe. This foot sticker had bottomed at like 200 to 300, I want to say, and clearly is up, about double, if not more, even though it has a crack in the slab, it looks like on the top left, but that goes for about 600. Ended up winning this 2024 Select Erling Haaland, PSA 10 out of 10. Tried to gaslight myself into believing it's jersey number. I looked at the back and looked at the PSA scan. It's 8 of 9, or it's 8 of 10, not 9 of 10. I like jersey numbers if I can, but I like the card as well. Pop 1 of 1 for a gold Haaland. I thought was a really fun pickup, and I've been picking up some Haaland here and there, mostly golds from Panini or reds from Topps Chrome. That's sort of where I hang at the moment, and so to be able to add this, I thought was pretty fair. This same card had sold raw, this same exact number, the same exact card, sold raw for about $200, like $150 to $200 in the middle of summer, graded a 10, naturally, going to be quite the premium. I was fine with it, I thought it was fair, and was happy to go ahead and add it. Next to it, a Sapphire Orange, Cristiano Ronaldo, PSA 10 goes for $600, which doesn't seem all that crazy compared to some of the other sales we've seen so far. Granted, orange isn't a fan favorite. Franco Baresi, Topps Dynasty. We'll see another one here in a second. I think it's a Marco van Basten, a couple rows higher. Red Finest Neymar, PSA 9 goes for 600 there. That felt pretty strong. I don't know. I mean, I did look this up on my own, but I also have it here. The same, well, I don't know if it's the same exact card. Let's go ahead and check. 066. Yeah, it's the same exact card. So this had sold in 2023 for 160 bucks. Turn around, 600 bucks now. Not bad. Not bad at all, I would say. Next to Equalizers 2024, Kylian Mbappe PSA 10 goes for 600. I guess if I had to, sort of rationalize my approach to Erling Haaland, granted, Real Madrid has a lot more collectors. I get it. Erling Haaland's, World Cup winner, all that fun stuff. I think I said Erling Haaland, like Kylian Mbappe, of course. Kylian Mbappe, World Cup winner, going to be World Cup all-time goal scorer. I just like this is a, insert from Select. There's also 3 of them. I'd take a base, pop one of one, a little cheaper, personally. But I also understand, like, Man City doesn't have a ton of collectors, Oil Club, all that narrative. There just really aren't that many collectors, which at least allows me to get some cards, but that's sort of my point of view there. Above it, a green sapphire Messi. PSA 10 goes for 630, along with a 2013 Icons patch here. Goes in a PSA 9 for 630 as well. And then a Michael Owen, out of 10 Nobility Gold, goes for 660. I didn't look this up. It felt pretty good. Granted, it is gold. It's from a set people like. It's a PSA 10, so there's a lot of things going for it that can, get it to this price point. So that sort of makes sense from that regard. In this row, Manchester United, nice win over the weekend, beating, Man City 2-0. That was not bad at all. Seeing clips about it everywhere. The Man U fans are full of themselves now. They're feeling good. They're feeling good. Swagger's back. But Kobe Mainu, what's that numbered out of? Numbered out of 8. Oh, above it, a green sapphire. Pretty good grades on those, clearly. This is the other Bruguera I was talking about, a Pele. This goes for 690 and a pop one of 1, none higher, along with a PSA 10 of what was at one point in time like a massive sort of hobby card that people were really pumping. People outside of soccer were really getting excited about it. It's a fun, unique card. I mean, to have 3 Manchester United guys on there. And, relatively early in their careers. You got Cristiano Ronaldo, David Beckham, and Zlatan. Not as early in Beckham's career, but you get the idea. PSA 10 goes for $750. This is actually up quite a bit. Last sale was $503, $450, and it actually bottomed with an eBay sale last year in January for $170. So whoever got that, good on you. Way back in the day, $800, $1,500, $2K. There was a sale that I remember. I think it might have been a trade, but at one point in time, they were like 5 to 10K. So that was a big time sticker. It's still decent, but, not as, I guess, crazy as it once was. Interesting here. Don't know what to make of this. Leaf, Cristiano Ronaldo 101 versus an Obsidian patch auto of Iniesta 101 for $780. Take your pick. I might take a Leaf. Although, why it has is that an orca? Is that a whale in the background? Aquatic signatures? Oh, it's an orca. It says so on the thing. Okay. Oh my goodness. I mean, they're being creative. I'll give them that. They're thinking outside the box. In a world where everyone's making the same colored cards, Leafs making aquatic orca cards. I don't know. PSA 7 Beckenbauer from 1970 Panini goes for $810. Looked at the sales on that. You could kind of say it was decent, maybe low. I mean, you could go almost any way you want with that, but interesting to get another comp there on a pop 102 with 4 higher. That's the Marco Van Basten I was talking about. This goes for $810. It's Dynasty. It's first year Dynasty. I'll let it be. I just always wonder, like, when you look at, like, basketball and some of these other sports, like, even older legends, their autographs don't do crazy numbers, and even like exquisite modern sets, like big sets, unless they're very important sets, which you could argue Topps Dynasty is, and so, that would be the approach you take there. 2013 Icons Messi here, another patch, goes with a BGS 10 Pristine. I think it looks like a patch in the top left. Yeah, it says so in the title. Goes for $810. Maradona PSA 4, 79 Calciatore. This is up quite a bit. 76% growth over the last year. Previously could have got it for about $400 to $500 at times, maybe $600, and now it's closer to $1,000 at this moment in time. Down from the last 3 sales, but we'll see where that goes in the future. And then finishing out this page, Mason Mount 2021 Stadium Club Chrome Auto 1 of 1 goes for $900. We have a silver Cristiano Ronaldo and a PSA 9 for $900, and a BGS 75 Campio number 89 Messi for $930. That does it for page 2. We'll move to page 1 now. Here we go. Starting at a little under 1,000 on page 1, we start with a purple Lionel Messi from 2019 Sapphire for $9.60 and an SGC 9. Always nice to be humbled by a Jordan base card. It says it's gold, so, maybe it's some sort of parallel of the base card, but it's not too extraordinarily rare. That goes for $9.60 and a 10. I thought this didn't seem crazy, but at the same time, it is a Barcelona team set. It's a PSA 7. But if you're a big Lamine Yamal guy, getting a color match Barca set out of 5 rookie for $990, you can crack it out of the slab and just have it raw if you'd like, just, to get the 7 out of your mind. But ultimately, $990 doesn't seem all that crazy. Granted, again, there's some deterrence there in the terms of the card and what it is, but, under $1,000 for color match out of 5. Lamine Yamal rookie, in this world that we live in, doesn't seem wild. Another upper deck, Michael Jordan, whatever. PSA 6 Monday Chromo Messi goes for $1,080. We have this 2000 Panini Zlatan. Pretty big time because we don't see these at all anymore. I looked up the comps on this. Last comp was a year and a half ago. So for PSA 6, nearly the same price. Now a BGS 5 does that, and personally I can understand it. In a world where you don't see it for a year and a half, I don't think 1,000's crazy. Personally, this is one that I sort of wanted, but at the same time, like a BGS 5, I'm like, Zlatan is a great player in my mind. Obviously had a great career, but there's some deterrence as well in terms of, Champions League and clearly no World Cup success. And there's a lot of arguments you can make for him being forgotten, but I think he's like a cult figure. And so I do really like that rookie, and I thought that was a decent pickup. It's almost 13 million. I don't remember, and at this point I think we're just too far gone. I don't recall what the fakes were of this, but I know there were fakes. I think in those fakes his face was like really sunburnt. But it's hard to tell sometimes with BGS slabs because BGS slabs inherently sort of wash out color a bit. They just make things look a little more dull. So I find it hard to be able to tell at times on cards that are stickers that I'm not totally familiar on. So I wish I would have had more information here. But I do think that that's a fun sticker, assuming it's authentic. We have a Kavicha, not a rookie here, but this is a 2024 Topps Exhibition Red going for $1,080. A Robert Lewandowski Inception patch auto out of 5 goes for $1,100. And then a Leaf Industry Summit 1/1 Messi goes for $1,100. Interesting to see what you'd want in that row. I have no comment personally, but I'll keep it moving. 2017 PSA 10 Kylian Mbappe at $1,100 here for his, not rookie sticker, but early sticker. Of course, they call it a rookie because, why wouldn't you? But nonetheless, that's up from some of the prior sales. I think that was closer to like $600-700 at times. We have an Equalizers Messi Gold here from 2022 Select and a BGS 9 going for $1,230, along with the Paulo Rossi PSA 8. This was a pretty strong price, so I looked it up. And, I don't know. It was $500. It was like $500 all day, every day. It felt like, I guess, way back in the day in 2022, it was $840, $870, $500, $400. Now $1,200. So an all-time high there for this sticker in particular. And it feels like Italian issues from pre-modern and vintage are doing pretty well. I guess more so pre-modern is what I can at least comp and have good understanding of. But $1,200 there is not too bad. As always, link down below to the Vintage Discord. Great place to talk vintage, pre-modern, really any sort of soccer cards. It's a great community, and there was a show over in Italy over this last weekend, and the pictures they showed looked pretty packed, seemed to have a lot of fun stuff, and so it seems like the scene is popping over there, and maybe that could explain some of these strong prices on players that you wouldn't necessarily would think get strong price. Clearly a name, but not like, I don't see him talked about on Instagram Reels, people aren't out here pumping Paulo Rossi, but still doing really well in the auction, which is fun to see. In this row, Flawless Sold the Game Xavi goes for $1,350 and a PSA 9. There's basically no comps after 2020 on a Soul of the Game Xavi, so we really don't have anything to look at there. But at least for me, Soul of the Games are one of the coolest modern autos in my opinion. And $1,350 there if you're a Xavi guy. I could totally understand it. I think it's a great card, personally, all that fun stuff. But I do think that that's an example of like why I think the rookie in a PSA 6 isn't a bad pickup at $400. You save $1,000 and you get a really pretty rare rookie. And just, I mean, maybe you could pick them both up and have the best of both worlds if you're into that. Blue and red wave, Lionel Messi PSA 10 for $1,350, along with a 1/1 Neymar black select patch, goes for $1,400. Not going to put us through the pain of seeing if that's match worn, because I'd imagine it isn't. But for the card, for what it is, I mean, $1,400 doesn't seem crazy in a world where everyone likes 1/1s at the Barca playing days Neymar. I mean, hey, doesn't seem bad to me. Alternatively, at nearly the same price, you could have gotten a Paul Pogba, Antoine Griezmann 2018 Panini Connections Prism. And, clearly World Cup winners that year, so I could see a pretty good narrative behind that. But $1,440 doesn't seem like a bad price. If you're a France guy, it also seems like a fun pickup. Kylian Mbappe, first auto here out of 2021 Topps Chrome. This is the out of 50, and actually has a pretty good auto, I will say. This set, and it could actually use an auto grade maybe, I'm not quite sure. But this set in general has tons of really streaky and just poor autos, and this one actually looks very, very nice. So that's a nice plus behind that one in particular. Kaboom, David Beckham. You can get like Mbappe's first auto. You can get a nice black prism from 2018 from the World Cup winners. You can get a Neymar 1/1 playing days, a Soul the Game Xavi, all this fun stuff. Or you get a post-playing career by a long shot. Kaboom, David Beckham. Like, oh my gosh, it just it doesn't make any sense to me. But that's the world we're living in right now. So $1,500 basically it is. Above it, Vinny, gold treble. This is, of course, a rookie for him. That goes for $1,500. I feel like I looked it up. I might have closed it. I did close it. Ultimately, it's a little lower than they've been, but at one point in time, he was having some Ballon d'Or shouts, so that was sort of what pumped up those prices. Ultimately, it doesn't seem like a terrible price for where he is now. We have a PSA 8 number 89 Messi for $1,500, along with a PSA 5 Este for $90 more. Seems fair in terms of pricing on both of those. Personally, I'm always an Este guy myself, but of course you are dropping 3 grades here, so make of that what you will. BGS 85 number 35 goes for $1,710, along with a gold Stadium Club Chrome Lamine Yamal for $1,700. I did look that one up, and last sale was $1,800, so it's down a little bit from that sale. Before this, we got to sort through a bunch of stuff. $1,200 back in May. He sort of peaked in June, around the same time as the Nations League final, and that's about all we have in terms of sales for that card in particular, but about where it should be, I guess. We have a PSA 9 Messi. I always sort of comment on the Messi-Ronaldo premiums. This Messi's about double the Ronaldo. I think the Ronaldo is $900, so this is a good premium over the Ronaldo for a first World Cup Prism Messi silver there. Christian Pulisic making his way up here, and should I slander him? I mean, I'm biased, but PSA 10 2016 Salon Christian Pulisic. Notably, I thought weird here, like his signature actually has a lot going on. A lot of his other 2016 signatures seem to be somewhat abbreviated. I don't know if he was putting a little more effort in on the first stickers, but this one seems to have a little extra something. That goes for $1,830 there. His market generally is doing pretty good. He's having a good year in Serie A. He's had a good few years in Serie A at this point, and, personally, definitely my favorite American at this moment in time, and certainly making a case for all time, but pretty good price there as well. Alternatively, if you're into this sort of stuff, you can go for a Ronaldo rookie sticker, so take your pick between those two. $19.20 there. Interestingly, the Ronaldo gets a little bit of a premium over the Messi, but I think it's always been that way, at least for the stickers, because Ronaldo only has 2 rookies, of course, and personally, I think the Ronaldo's sticker is his better looking of his 2 rookie issues, but of course, that's personal preference. Erling Haaland auto out of 49 from Topps Museum goes for $2,300 in a PSA 9. Interesting comp here. Pulisic, Erling Haaland, who's a better player? I don't know. A little bit of a toss-up. Anyways, above it, we have a blue 2018 Messi Prism PSA 10 for $2,500. Erling Haaland green Topps Finest for $2,600 out of 99 and a PSA 9. Pretty sure I looked this up just because, pretty big card for Erling Haaland. Last sale was $2,000. Before that, you could have got it for $1,400 in September. And before that, anywhere between $1,300, $2,500. So it's within the range. Of course, way back in the day, you're looking at multiple thousands. Early on in 2020, 2021, you could have gotten it for a little bit cheaper for sure. But, it seems to be bouncing back up a little bit along with the rest of Erling Haaland stuff, which seems reasonable. I mean, Erling Haaland was on a downtrend for 3 or 4 years where he was having some of the best years of any player in the world. So, I think a little bit of a retracement back up makes sense, at least from my point of view. PSA 9, number 62, Messi rookie, goes for $3,000 there. We have this ultimate 1/1 Ronaldinho, which I feel like we've seen sell 5 times, but here it is again for $3,100. Then we have an 85 Calciatore Baggio for $3,300. Again, a little bit of a comment made on the pricing of this in the Vintage Discord, and rightfully so. This one has made quite the run as of late. $3,300 on this sale. Before that, 22, 21, 17, and 1,000 way back in 2023 when everyone thought soccer cards were going to zero. Who's buying anything? Just nice flip there. If you're into that, way back in the day, if you want to go all the way back, anywhere between 200 and 300, depending on the time you were purchasing. And now you're looking at about $3,300. So a nice little, come up for Baggio there. Really fun sticker. Only 17 sales on a 9 over the, 8 years that we have here, essentially. So about 2 a year. Seems pretty fair, and, a respectable run for a respectable player. PSA 9, Merlin Chrome, Messi in a PSA 9. Well, I already said PSA 9, you get the idea. Out of 10, goes for $3,300. I've always really liked this. This is first year Merlin. I don't really think first year holds that much of a premium. Generally, in 2017 Chrome and 2014 Prism, people have really ran with that. I just, for me, I'm always a little hesitant, I guess, to some degree on first year narratives, because you look at other sports, rarely is there a huge premium on first year of blank, unless it coincides with something else that's very important, which is a good case for the 2017 Chrome, because Kylian Mbappe's rookie card's in that set, so I could see a little bit of something there if Kylian Mbappe is an all-time great player of this era, which it's looking like he may be. Merlin Chrome 2020, not as much of a narrative around that, but still a really cool-looking card. Barca playing days, out of 10, PSA 9, $3,300. Ultimately, I don't mind that. In this row, I would take the Messi myself, but again, as always, that's just me. In terms of watchers, Ronaldinho actually wins the day, which is interesting, and I have no comment on that, but we'll keep it moving. PSA 8, 1994 R9 football goes for $3,500. I didn't look that one up just because I feel like we've seen a lot of R9 lately, but I surely have to imagine that that's doing pretty well. I would guesstimate that probably bottomed at like $750 to $1,500, probably on the higher end of that. But, $3,500 here, not bad at all. We have a 64 Calciatore Pele autograph of Alita back. Pretty nice auto there as well. Goes for $4,300. This was purchased on eBay late summer, early fall for about, I think it was like $3,500. So a little bit of a come up there on a nice looking Panini issue sticker of an early Pele. At least Panini speaking. 2004 PSA 10 Cristiano Ronaldo SP Authentic goes for $4,400 out of $325. We had seen one of these go. There's 3 different cards in the set, a different card in the set, same grade, same parallel, all that fun stuff went for, I think it was about $5,000, so maybe this is a little lighter, but these had bottomed between 1,000 and 2,000 at times, so certainly still up quite a bit from those numbers. Above it, take your pick of the Messis in this row, all about $5,000. You can get a BGS 9.5 2004 number 89, or a PSA 10 2006 Panini World Cup card, or a BGS 4.5 71 bis. It's interesting. I'm a big 71 bis guy. I think 71 bis is always sort of king, but I might take a 9.5. I might take a 9.5. I don't know. I might take the 9.5. If I had to rank them, it'd be 9.5, 71 bis, 2006 Panini World Cup card. But I think it's fairly close to some degree, at least between the top two. I mean, you put these next to each other, you can get a BGS 9 rookie, a BGS 9.5 rookie, or a PSA 10 2006 World Cup card. I mean, take the rookie, but World Cup card is cool in its own right, so I get it. Above that, 2019 Immaculate Collection, out of 10, gold, Lionel Messi auto. It is a sticker auto, at least. Yeah, looks like a sticker auto. Goes for $5,800. I don't think I've ever seen that card before, so still a cool card in and of itself. Pitch side tie-dye, Lamine Yamal, PSA 810. Goes for $6,000 there, numbered out of 7. Usually tie-dyes are like 25 or 30, but 7 in this scenario. Maybe it didn't have as many Lamine Yamal stickers then as they do now. I'm not quite sure. Next to it, interestingly enough, a Topps Dynasty Luis Figo patch. Goes for $6,300. And not the greatest patch, not the greatest patch. I do like this year they gave them a little room to sign. They didn't have to sign over their kit or their face or whatever. They can sign in a nice little area, so that's good. just, again, feels so strong, man. I know people like the 101s, they like this stuff, and clearly, clearly they do. I'm not questioning that, but man, man, that's a good number. That's a good number. Anywho, above it, gold Messi Mosaic 2020 goes for 6,600. I did take a look at this. There was 2 sales before, and what is it? One of them was 7,300. The other one's 3,900. So if you got this in 2023, you're on the come up. If you got this last year in November, you're down a little. But when another one sells just 3 months later, it's probably going to be the case. So NT out of 25 sticker auto with let's do it. On this type of stuff, I am just genuinely interested if it is match worn or not. This does seem to be match worn. There you go. NT does feel like it should have match worn. It also feels like it shouldn't have sticker autos, but what are you gonna do, I guess. Ultimately, seems like a decent price there, 8,400. One of the narratives I've seen around NT generally is that a lot of people from basketball, football, a lot of the American sports come into soccer, and they understand NT to be the premier autograph card. And I just don't think that's the case in soccer. I think it's eminence, personally. I think there's cases to be made for Topps Dynasty as well, and maybe some, like Flawless. But I just think that a lot of people come in here from other sports and assume NT to be the thing because it is in their sports. But NT's been really poor in soccer in terms of delivering super high-end quality. And so I think there's just some discrepancy between what soccer collectors feel about NT and what the outside market feels about NT. And so we're sort of just stuck somewhere in the middle. And it's hard to make, heads or tails of a lot of these different sales. That rhymed. That was pretty cool. Anywho, Ronaldinho next to it, 1 of 1. Really cool card from 2018. Immaculate. Of course, got the Nike swoosh there. Ronaldinho, one of the more collectible players from pre-modern as well. And, of course, a 1 of 1. Going to pull big numbers, 8,700 here. Couldn't find any sales on that in the past, so I have no frame of reference for prior pricing. But seems like a decent price. I mean, I don't know what was to be expected here, but nearly 10 grand doesn't feel bad. And then above it, top of this week, you get the Messi trio here with 2 repeats. Again, speaking to the NT sort of dilemma that we were mentioning earlier, 2018 even calls that dilemma into question more, as of course the Messi auto from this set looks quite different than a lot of the other Messi autos. Some notable things, I mean, as always, we talk about this coat hanger L that he does here. On all of his cards, it's basically like a line that goes from, like up here. I'll draw it here. It goes, doop. It has a nice swoosh, and then it comes back around. This one's like a jagged across, jagged back over, and it doesn't look anything like Messi's other autos. And I guess if you want to, even nitpick it more, like for his E right here, generally his E's almost look like a semicircle, like half a circle, and then a line in the middle. This one clearly has like a lower part and then a top line across and then a line in the there's so many different ways you could pick this apart, and you could probably do that for other players' autos at times, and but for Messi it's going to be one of the most scrutinized surely of any player. And that's been a big stink on this type of card for a while, and I think that shows in the pricing. If this had a believed to be genuine Messi auto, it would do a lot more. And that's also player worn. So again, just, speaking to the flaws in NT, that definitely goes to show. And then finally, 271 bases here, PSA 7, PSA 8. I wanted to do a fun, and I'm not doing this because there's one right answer or the other. I'm not doing this because it's set up this way. I just thought, hey, let's go ahead, click on both of them, zoom in, and see if you can see the difference. And, why one's 31,000 and why one's 12,000, right? And so here we go. Don't try to cheat. Don't look at anything else. Just look at the card. All right, so we got one card here. I'm looking around. I mean, maybe if you want to nitpick, a little bit of fuzzies up there, but that seems pretty, nitpicky to say the least. Look around, maybe a little bit of discoloration there, but ultimately not bad. Left side's got a little speck of white, but this is like high-res, super zoomed down. I mean, you're not going to see that in real life. And if you look around some more, I mean, it looks really good to me. I don't really have a whole lot of gripes. This right here, I guess, would be maybe a gripe, but I'm not sure if that's on the slab. I'm not sure exactly. When we look on the back, it's a nice zoom-in photo of Messi there. Maybe a little fisheye or something right there, but who really cares? top edge, I mean, you got a little bit of whitening up there, but not like on the card, just like, pieces of the card on the top that are a little frayed. Truthfully, you could probably just go across with your finger, probably push them down if you care. Little bit of white there on the top left. Ultimately, I thought this was a really nice looking card, and we'll look at the other one now. So this one clearly has a lot of fisheyes. 3 right here on the red. You'll see that a lot on these Messi 71 bis, is usually here on the right-hand side along the red. You get some fisheyes every now and then. Other than that, I mean, maybe a little bit of edge wear on the top, but that's a little nitpicky. Some more fuzzies on the left. A little bit of a ding on the bottom left corner. A little bit of ding on the bottom right corner. And on the back, I mean, the edge doesn't look perfect over here, but, you're asking a lot of a 2004 Spanish release. A nice ding up there. And, looks generally worse, I would say. And PSA thought so too. So, hey, that's the PSA 7. I think that's fair, I think the PSA 8 actually looks a lot better than the 7 when you take into account the fisheyes. I think the technical grade of the card itself, the condition it's in, I think the 8 looks better that way. And I also think without the fisheyes, that adds a little bit as well. So I could see a case to be made that the 7's much worse than the 8 in some respects. But I don't think either one was graded unfairly, really. Maybe the 8 in another era could have been a 9 or a 10. Maybe they're being a bit harsh, because honestly, when you go through this, I don't know what this is right here. Maybe that's the one detractor, if that's truly on the card. But other than that, I thought the 8 looked pretty good. I guess it does have a small little fisheye thing going on there, but I thought the 8 looked really good. The 7, looks 7E to be fair, and it is graded more recent, so I think that that's fair. And ultimately, I can see why it gets a good premium. On most 7s to 8s, do I think a 3x multiple is reasonable? I don't know. It seems a bit strong, but ultimately the people have made it that way. And, it also got 40 more watchers as well, so clearly a lot more interest on an 8. And, just interesting to see. 20 grand difference between a 7 and an 8. Pretty big time. People really care. And 71 bis is still doing all right, Is it at the all-time highs it was in maybe September? No. But are these prices still respectable and pretty good, considering the amount of copies that have come out? I think so. I think they're still pretty strong. Anywho, we go to next week, number 210. This is, from what I understand, the last vintage special. They've been doing a lot of vintage specials on every 10th auction, where you would get a little extra of the buyer's premium as a seller. And so that enticed some things to come out, but ultimately not a ton, but still some nice things. Personally, I'm pretty sad that they're getting rid of that, just because I thought it was nice. I thought it was a fun thing. We could sort of all come around every 10 auctions, but for one reason or another, I guess it's no longer a thing, which is sad. I do have some watches up here on these. I'll spoil that. I went through the rest and unwatched them. Really, I'm not going to win either of these top 2, but I'm just sort of looking from afar and just interested. But of course, we have a Pele Aquarella PSA 5 Auto Authentic Rookie. Pretty big time, already leading the auction. We have a 77 Crack PSA 4 Maradona. I haven't seen tons of these come out lately, especially in this high of a grade, so that's going to do a good number, and already is, really. We have a Luis Monti Ultra that is at 4,700 already. A lot of these Ultras have come out lately. I say a lot. It's like one of each player of some of the bigger players. It's not really a lot, but compared to how often you see that set, it seems to be. Fun stuff here. Pele Alifa. You got a blue Topps Chrome Mbappe along with a Zico rookie. You have a DD. They didn't put it as a rookie, so good on them, but it is an early DD at 1,600 already. Another Alifa as well. Some fun stuff beneath it. A Crack Pele. You got some fun pre-war as well. A Messi auto. Another Dolar here of Ochoa in a decent grade. PSA 3 is not too bad at all. A nice grade Cruyff Sicker Verlog. I do have a watch on this, but again, probably not winning that. That PSA 10 Messi from 2015. One of my favorite looking Messi cards out of Mega Cracks, but again, personal preference. Nice eye appeal on the Crack Maradona. Some other high-grade Messi, 86 Maradona, Soccer rookie, 1 of 1 Mason Mount. I feel like we've seen that go lately, but maybe that's a rerun. And yeah, that's about it. Definitely some fun stuff scattered throughout, so we'll scroll through it real quick. But hopefully you're excited. Of course, as always, I know I am. And hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Again, if you did, make sure to leave a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. Any thoughts on things that sold high or low, let me know in a comment down below. And I guess also we'll go back through. I usually don't do this at the end, but I didn't say which ones I thought were the deals of this auction or which ones I thought were the shills of this auction. Again, for the price point, for what it is, I feel like that Messi might have been a deal on the Red Merlin. Maybe that's a strong price compared to comps, but like compared to what I see people wanting, that doesn't seem bad at all. not shilled by any means. This is just the way Kabooms are, but I would certainly say the Kaboom feels pretty strong to me. The Neymar didn't seem like a bad pickup as well. I sort of said that when I went through the first time. Again, the Zlatan, if you like the authenticity, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad price either. Yeah, on this page, I mean, if you like the 2019 Sapphire narrative, I don't feel like there are some bad pickups here for Messi and Ronaldo as well. And yeah, finally, I think that Xavi was actually a pretty good pickup as well. But that's what we're going to call it. So again, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Any thoughts, let me know. If you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.